Stakeholder. 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 So, you want to know about the word stakeholder. It's actually quite an important term in business and corporate settings, but it can be a bit tricky to understand at first as a noun. A stakeholder refers to someone who has a vested interest in a particular project, organization, or decision. This could be a shareholder of a company, a member of the public affected by a development plan, or even an employee who will be impacted by changes in their workplace. The key thing is that stakeholders have some kind of stake or influence over the outcome of a particular issue or project, which makes them important to consider and involve in decision-making processes. You might hear someone say, "We need to get input from all the stakeholders before making a final decision," which means they want to make sure everyone who has a stake is heard and taken into account. In a formal meeting setting, such as a company boardroom or a conference presentation, you might say, "We must consider the input of all relevant stakeholders, including investors and local community leaders, in order to ensure that our new policy aligns with their interests." Here, the context is professional and requires attention to detail. In a casual conversation over coffee with a colleague, you might say something like, "I'm starting my own business and I really need to understand what the stakeholders are looking for. Customers, investors, employees. Who's got the most influence?" In this case, the tone is relaxed and the context is about personal or professional development. In an academic or business plan context, you might use a sentence like, "A thorough stakeholder analysis revealed that the company's key stakeholders were comprised of 30% customers, 20% suppliers, and 50% employees, which informed our subsequent market research and HR strategy." This example is in a more technical and analytical setting. So you want to know about this person or group that plays a big role in making decisions? Well, let me tell you, they're typically people or organizations that have some kind of interest or investment in a particular project, process, or outcome. Main characteristics are that they have a vested interest, meaning it affects them directly, and they usually have some level of influence over the decision-making process. People often refer to them as those who are impacted by the decisions made, like the community affected by a new development or the employees affected by company policies. Similar concepts include those affected, or simply the people involved. But in many cases, it's also used to describe organizations such as customers, investors, partners, or even suppliers. They're not just passive observers. They're actively engaged and often have a say in what happens next. Infrastructure. 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 So, let's talk about the word infrastructure. It's a noun, which means it refers to a person, place, thing, or idea, but in this case, it's more of an abstract concept, commonly used in English. Infrastructure typically refers to the underlying systems and structures that support the functioning of society, such as roads, bridges, public buildings, utilities like water and electricity, and even digital networks and computers. You'll often hear it used in discussions about transportation, construction, and technology. One special note is that while it can be a bit formal or technical sounding at times, infrastructure has become more mainstream and accessible in everyday conversation, especially among businesspeople, policymakers, and anyone who talks about modernization or development projects. In a meeting with government officials to discuss urban planning, I mentioned that investing in modern infrastructure would greatly benefit the local community by providing them with efficient public transportation and reliable utilities. My colleague later mentioned to me at lunch that she was frustrated with her neighborhood's lack of decent infrastructure, citing potholed roads and intermittent internet connectivity as major annoyances. When presenting a proposal for a new company expansion, our CEO emphasized the importance of investing in robust digital infrastructure to support seamless communication and data management across all branches. So you want to know what this important concept is all about? Well, let me break it down for you in simple terms. The idea I'm referring to refers to the underlying systems, networks, and facilities that support and enable a society or organization to function properly. It's like the foundation of a building, just as a house needs a strong base to stand on. A community or business needs these essential elements to operate smoothly. Think of it like roads, bridges, public transportation, water pipes, electricity grids, internet connections, all those things that we take for granted but are crucial for daily life. These systems and networks allow people and goods to move around efficiently, enable communication and trade, and provide basic necessities like water, food, and shelter. It's a broad concept that encompasses many different areas, but essentially it's about the setup that makes everything else work. Expertise. 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 So, let's talk about the word expertise. As a language teacher, I'd be happy to break it down for you. Expertise is a noun, which means it refers to a person's special knowledge or skill in a particular area. In common usage, you'll often hear people talking about their expertise in fields like medicine, engineering, or finance. For example, she has extensive expertise in cardiovascular surgery, or he brought his expertise in software development to the new company. What's interesting is that this word can also be used as a singular noun, which means it refers to the special knowledge or skill itself, rather than the person who possesses it. So, you might say, her expertise in coding was invaluable to our project. At the job fair, Sarah proudly stated that her 4-year experience in marketing qualified her to have expertise in digital advertising, which she highlighted on her resume and business cards, a formal usage example where expertise is used to convey professional credibility. Later that day, while grabbing coffee with friends, Alex mentioned that his friend John had expertise in woodworking, allowing him to create beautiful custom furniture for their new home, an informal conversation. Usage example where expertise is shared as a personal recommendation. Meanwhile, at the academic conference, Dr. Patel discussed her research findings on improving healthcare outcomes through expertise in population health management, citing studies and data to support her claims, a business or academic usage example where expertise is used to establish authority and credibility in a specific field. So you want to know about expertise? Well, let me tell you, it's all about having a very high level of skill and knowledge in something specific. Imagine you're talking to someone who has spent years studying music, and they can play the piano beautifully. They can teach others how to do it too, because they've got such a strong grasp on the subject. Having expertise means being really good at something, like a specialist, and people look up to you for guidance or advice on that particular thing. It's similar to terms like specialization or mastery. But expertise is more about being very skilled in a specific area, rather than just knowing a lot of general information. And when someone has expertise, They can use it to help others, teach classes, write books, or even start their own businesses.